Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to dive into the player's handbook and we're going to look at the first level magic user spell, Sleep. Sleep is a must-have for any starting mage. You're very fortunate if you get this in your repertoire right away. I have actually had that fortune where I actually did roll it when I was rolling my initial spells, and Sleep was one of them. Sleep is a great spell at low level. It's a first level spell. It's an enchantment or charm. 30 feet plus 10 feet per level, so the minimum is going to be 40 feet. Duration is going to be 5 rounds per level. Area of effect is special. Verbal, somatic, and material components. 1 segment casting time and no saving throw. When a magic user casts a sleep spell, he or she will usually cause a comatose slumber to come upon one or more creatures, other than undead and certain other creatures specifically excluded. See the AD&D Monster Manual for details. Because undead and other planar things might be immune to, or undead are immune to charm spells, they would be immune to sleep. All creatures to be affected by the sleep spell must be within a 30-foot diameter circle. The number of creatures which can be affected is a function of their life energy levels expressed as hit dice and hit points. Up to 1 hit dice creatures, so this would be kobolds and goblins, you can put, or also including 1 hit dice creatures, which would be orcs and that kind of thing. You can put 4 to 16 asleep with 1 spell. 4 die 4. You're going to average something like 9 on that, 9 to 10, which is pretty darn good for one first level spell to be able to lay out 9 orcs or 9 goblins. 1 hit dice plus 1 point to 2 hit dice. You can put 2 to 8 to sleep, and you throw 2 die 4 for that. 2 plus 1 to 3 dice. You put 1 to 4 asleep. Throw, of course, a die 4. 3 plus 1 hit dice to 4 hit dice. 1 to 2 go to sleep. And then 4 plus 1 to 4 plus 4 hit dice. 0 or 1, and you roll a die 4. On a 3 or 4, they go to sleep. So what that means is that the spell is less effective with the more hit dice you're dealing with. And again, for up to and including 1 hit dice, you get 4 to 16. That's pretty good, especially at brand new first level. That can be a really important spell for the entire party. Again, all targets must be within a 30-foot diameter circle, but in a dungeon setting, which is what these books are basically written for, that's not that hard to come by. Even outside, you can get a lot with that. And the way I do it is I throw the random dice, 4 to 16, and whatever the player rolls, that's how many he gets. I've seen as few as 5 or 6 be put to sleep from one hit dice creatures up to 12 or 13. It's happened. I've never seen the max or the minimum on that one. On the higher level creatures, the way I roll it is if you have a party member that's in the midst of the group fighting, and you decide, well, I'm going to risk it, I'm going to throw the spell anyway, I go closest to the caster on my way out. So if there are 8 orcs that are fighting in there, and I would throw for the 8 orcs to see if I get all 8 with that or not. And then if the player character is in there, I would roll for them. I wouldn't roll for them if they're low enough hit points, or hit dice rather, and they are subject to the spell, as in they're not an elf of some nature. I would go ahead and I would let the spell affect them, and they might also be put to sleep with the orcs. The important thing I do too is if the fighter I just mentioned in the middle of the group is an elf, I'll let him go ahead and roll his 90% immunity to sleep to see if he's affected by the spell at all. If he's not, then whatever he might have eaten up as far as the hit dice, I go on to the next creatures. For split hit dice, I will be so if I have some gnolls in there, I could get 1 to 4 with a sleep spell, and I would, and a bunch of orcs, I would go ahead and I would roll for whoever's closest. And I would just say, okay, you've got, 12 dice worth of creatures you can get, because I rolled 12 on my 4 die 4 up here, while these are 2 plus 2 hit dice, and they go as higher levels. So I'll take away 2 gnolls equal 1 orc, and I'll do the spell that way. It's just something arbitrary that I've had to kind of do over the years, because you do often have mixed hit dice in there. As I've said, player characters are subject to this, and yes, last year in a game with a lower level elf, my wife failed her elf 90% immunity to a sleep spell that she was, the magic user of the group said, heck with it, I'll throw a sleep spell, she'll be immune, it'll be fine. She went to sleep along with the other creatures in the area of effect, and was not happy. She rolled a 93 out of a 1 to 90, 91 or higher. She failed. She threw a 93. That was in my Solm campaign. I showed some of that play in the early part of 2023, and I've talked about it a little bit throughout the time. So that's how I deal with it. If you have mixed numbers, you kind of have to wing it a little bit. It says down here, the area of effect is determined by the range and area center decided upon by the spellcaster. Slapping or wounding will awaken affected creatures, but noise will not do so. Awakening requires 1 complete melee round. Note that sleeping creatures can be slain automatically at a rate of 1 per slayer per melee round. So if you have 5 people going out there per round, in 2 rounds you could take out 10 sleeping opponents. The material component for this spell is a pinch of fine sand, rose petals, or a live cricket. So live cricket, of course, the sound helps lull you to sleep in the winter or the summer night. I'm guessing that's why that's there. Sand, of course, Mr. Sandman, rose petal, pleasant scent to fall asleep to. I'm surprised you don't have to sing Brahms' Lullaby with this, which, by the way, almost always here's a few bars whenever the spell is cast in our game. But anyway, the sleep spell is a great spell to have, and I carry it on mages, and I encourage my players to carry it on their spellcasters up through 6th, 7th level. And I even have an 18th level spellcaster, Stormcrow. He's been around since 82. He actually carries a sleep spell. You never know when you're going to have to quiet down an inn or a rowdy group in a town. And it's just a good pacifier. You literally just knock everybody out for a few minutes to get everything to calm down. And in Stormcrow's case, at 18th level, it has 5 rounds per level. So that'd be 90 minutes. That'd be an hour and a half nap for everybody that's out there being rowdy. So it's a good way to kind of calm a situation down without hurting anybody. And that's one of the reasons why I do carry it when I play a high-level magic user. I'm very excited, by the way. Soon I will be playing Stormcrow. Craig is going to DM for a few weeks, and I'll have my first break in almost 3 years as DM, and I'm really excited. I'll be playing Mega Stormcrow, my 18th level magic user, and we'll be going on a high-level adventure run by Craig. I'm very excited. But that's it. That's all I've got to say today about the sleep spell, one of the best utility spells in D&D. Let me know your thoughts and experiences with this spell. Is it good? Is it bad? I love it. So that's all I've got today. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below. Like and subscribe. Take a look at the Patreon. Help me out there if you can. And I'll see you next time on page 121.